Texas football is one step closer to a bowl berth.
Texas volleyball takes 2 Big 12 wins.
And longtime rival Texas A&M comes to Austin.
Stay tuned. You're watching College Press Box.
Good evening and thanks for watching College Press Box tonight. I'm your host, Taylor Smith. Analyst Diego Contreras is here with me tonight. Diego, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Taylor. We had a really exciting week in Longhorn and Big 12 football. This division picture is finally starting to take shape, so let's buckle up and enjoy the ride at the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how the Big 12 shapes up with Baylor and TCU, but right now let's talk Texas football. This past weekend, Texas football beat number 23 ranked West Virginia at home. That was the first time Texas beat a ranked opponent at home since 2008. Diego, were you able to catch the game on Saturday?
I was. It kind of felt a little bit like deja vu from last weekend. We had another strong game on the ground, except this time around, rather than Malcolm Brown, we saw Jonathan Gray rush for his first 100-yard carry game of the season. He had 3 touchdowns on the day, and it was great to see the Longhorn running attack that we've been talking about for so long really kind of come to fruition.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I think Texas fans are happy to finally see the running game they've been waiting for all season. Let's go out to DKR and take a look at the highlights. Texas is getting ready to take on West Virginia at DKR. First quarter 0-0, Tyron Supes rolls out and hits Marcus Johnson for 7 yards. On the same drive, 3rd and goal, Tyron hits tight end Jeff Swam for the 2-yard touchdown. Texas goes up 7-0, 6:35 left in the first quarter. 4th and 9 for West Virginia and a 53-yard field goal attempt wide left. Texas still leads 7-3. Texas team's pretty happy about that. In the second quarter, Texas is driving and Tyron Swoops hits MJ McFarland for 9 yards. After some nice moves, he's finally out of bounds. Texas still up 7-3. On the very next play, Tyron hands it off to Jonathan Gray, who hits the hole and takes it to the house. With a 39-yard run, Gray puts Texas up 14-3. West Virginia in the second quarter, Trickett hits Wendell Smallwood, who gets lit up by Mikael Thompson. Late in the second quarter, Jonathan Gray breaks through the hole again for 40 yards, taking it to the West Virginia 13-yard line, putting Texas up for a great opportunity. Later in that drive, Jonathan Gray scores his second touchdown of the game. Texas goes up 21-3. Right here, West Virginia has the ball, and Clint Trickett is picked off by Quandre Diggs, which leads to a Texas field goal. Texas goes up 24-3. At halftime, the fans are sure getting pumped about this game. In the fourth quarter, Cedric Reed gets a safety. Texas goes up 26-10, and later on, Cedric Reed again forced a sack and a fumble. Right here at the end of the game, we have the icing on the cake with Jonathan Gray up the middle for his 3rd touchdown. Texas went on to win 33-16, and they will face Oklahoma State this coming weekend. Our very own Tierra Newbaum was at the game. Let's take a look at her takeaways from the game.
Last Saturday, unranked Texas took on number 23 West Virginia. Coach Strong emphasizes the importance of the team working as a whole and says that these games are not just about one player.
And I think the guys are beginning to trust in one another because we need everybody, and everybody's got to show up. And it's all about that, it's not individual effort, it's all a team effort. Then we go with team, individualism will come, but we got to make sure it's a team effort.
Malcolm Brown says the team's frustration levels have been high during the start of the season, but they knew determination would turn things around.
Not just me, just the whole offense. We we're kind of out of sync and just weren't playing like we need to be playing. You know, we have a lot of athletes on this team that are just great players. And, you know, just to have us going out there playing like we did, I mean, it was definitely frustrating. But you know, we got to turn around. Just had to stay persistent and just keep grinding it out.
After Texas beat West Virginia Saturday night, this was the Longhorns' first win at home against a ranked opponent since 2008. The Longhorns are now 1 win away from becoming bowl eligible.
That was a great win for Coach Strong. You know, beating a ranked opponent as a Texas coach, getting his first ranked win, and you know, the sky's the limit for him.
And you look at it like this, the first half was just everybody, everybody being a part of it, the offense, defense, even the kicking game. And then you look at second half, defensively we had to step up, and we kept putting it on the defense. I'd always say to the defense, in order for us to win, we got to play great defense.
Coach Strong was also very impressed with the run game against West Virginia. And Malcolm Brown says the offensive line was key to his and Gray's success against the Mountaineers.
I mean, we're finding holes everywhere, and Jay Gray did a great job. I would like to believe I did a great job as well, and you know, those guys up front, I mean, they just made it just so easy for us.
Coach Strong says it's all about focus and preparation as they get ready for Oklahoma State this weekend.
You know, can you go repeat the performance that you just had? You know, I always say the mark of a champion is being able to repeat last week's performance. Can we go do that again?
Texas is set to play in Stillwater at 6:30 this Saturday. Tierra Newbaum, College Press Box.
Now let's welcome football analyst Alex Wilkins to the show tonight. Alex, we're lucky to have you here with us tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm pretty good, thank you. Before we get started, let's listen to Coach Charlie Strong's takeaway from the West Virginia game.
You know, great team win on Saturday night, and it's just so well to just see us come out offensively, played an unbelievable first half. You know, we had some stumbles there in the second half, and they were able to get us a touchdown there late with Jay Gray making a big run. And then defensively, just watch our defense. You know, watching Ced Reed come alive and just watching hits all over the place. You look at Mikael Thompson had 2 big hits, and then the big hit by Hicks where he had the 3rd and 4th down stops. But, you know, when you think about it, I always put it on the defense. I say in order for us to go win the big games, we got to play great defense. And it's good to see our defense step up. In special teams, we know this. We can get a lot better. You know, we end up missing a field goal, had some punch that kind of got away from us, but we know we can improve those. Those are areas that can be improved.
As mentioned earlier, this win for Texas was the first win against a ranked opponent at home since 2008. What are your takeaways from the game? Alex, we'll go to you first.
Well, I think this was a huge win for this Texas team. First of all, we got to see a glimpse kind of into this future of Texas with Charlie Strong. It's a pretty bright future, and also what Charlie Strong has been preaching since day one about having to see the offense, defense, and special teams, all 3 phases working together. This was kind of the first game where we actually saw that. And I mean, it wasn't a perfect game. Definitely in the second half, saw the offense start to break apart a little bit. But overall, you know, I think it's probably a really good thing that they created a lot of cushion at the beginning, putting so many points on the board. Defense was killing it. I think that definitely helped them get the win. But overall, great win for the program. We started to see the players buying in, recruits were buying in, and, you know, fans were buying in. So it was a crucial win for Texas.
This was definitely a great win. Tyrone Swoops was in the 8th grade the last time the Horns won a home game against a ranked opponent. So after some tumultuous seasons, it's really good for the Horns to finally start to get some of these monkeys off of their backs. And this West Virginia wasn't a slack team. They lost to TCU, who might be the best team in the Big 12 by 1 point. So this is an extremely positive note for Texas, and this has to give them a lot of confidence going forward.
Yeah, I think I would have to agree. It was definitely a good win for Texas and a confidence booster. Now let's listen to Coach Charlie Strong talk about the running game.
They did look pretty good, and it's what Coach Wickline is doing, but also the players. And like I say, every week we squeeze in every ounce we have. And because you look at Taylor played well, Ced Flowers played well. And, you know, you look at NCAA, he continues, Cameron Hughes, he continues to get better. Perk continues to get better. And then Hutch is doing a great job. But, you know, with that group of guys, it's almost like they're forming a bond. And when they form that bond, you know, now they're realizing just how just focused and how tight they have to be for everyone to really trust and believe in them.
Texas running backs Malcolm Brown and Jonathan Gray have both proved themselves this last 2 weeks. Why have we only seen this in the past 2 weeks? Where was this running game the whole season? Alex, we'll go to you first.
You know, what happened is Joe Wickline happened. He transformed this O-line into something that is incredible for this team. He took a completely inexperienced O-line and produced what we just saw against West Virginia. But in general, that's the reason the running backs were able to start seeing holes and able to run through, because when the season first started, these running backs were timid. They weren't using their full power. We've seen Jonathan Gray and Malcolm Brown play before, and not how we've seen so far at this season, you know? And so it definitely was great to see some of that old Jonathan Gray coming back, rushed for 101 yards, 3 touchdowns. Huge game for Jonathan Gray. He had mentioned that, you know, Malcolm Brown had over a 100-yard rushing game against Texas Tech, so he had to come out and, you know, get over 100 yards. So good for him for getting 1 point over 100. But, you know, definitely impressive. I like the competition between them two, and it's all in thanks to this offensive line.
Yeah, like you said, these linemen, these boys better be getting fed this week. 2 straight weekends of Longhorn running for 100-plus yards, separate players at that as well. I mean, this running attack, we've been waiting all season long. It was exciting to finally see this come around, and if Tyrone Swoops can keep developing his passing attack, this Longhorn offense is looking pretty solid heading into some really big, tough Big 12 games.
Yeah, I think I would have to agree that the big part of the running game was the offensive line. I think this is their 4th straight game of playing together, so they're finally gelled together. And if Swoops could start throwing the ball and completing passes, the offense would have a very strong attack against opponents. Now let's listen to Coach Charlie Strong talk about the Texas defense.
Every week I always say this is Cedric's day. It's going to be here. So the defensive staff always laughs at me. It's okay. It's going to happen. So now, you know, he has a big game. And, you know, during the game I said to him, I said, finally you came alive. I was wondering when this was going to happen. And I told him, I said, you left 2 sacks on the field because early in there, you know, we run a stunt. And if he just comes on, he's going to sack the quarterback. He kind of hesitates and thinking the fullback's going to kick you. No, he's not going to kick. Just go rush the guy. But it was just so fun to watch him just finally explode. But it was one of those games, and, you know, he always says, Coach, what's wrong? He said, just go play. You worry about too much and you see too much. Just trust your eyes and go play. And then he just finally opened it up, and it was just so fun. I was just so happy for him.
Cedric Reed finally had his breakout game with 12 tackles, 4 for a loss, and 3 sacks. Why do you think it took him so long to have a game like this? Alex, we'll go to you first.
Honestly, I don't think anyone knows why it took him so long. We've all been waiting to see this Cedric Reed that we saw last year, and we just haven't seen him. You know, he's been timid. Charlie Strong was saying that he could have gotten at least 2 more sacks, even against West Virginia, but because, you know, he was timid, he saw the guard coming, so he didn't do it. But this is the first glimpse. He's finally figuring out how to get back to how he was last year, and I think even better, especially in this game. He came into this game with only 1.5 sacks, got 3, and especially one that ended up with a safety. Huge game for him.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, it's an enormous question mark to wonder why it took till early November to finally see this kind of a performance. But I mean, hey, it's a brand new coaching staff. We've completely revamped the system here at Texas. And so, I mean, that could be a part of a lot of the problems, but it's a positive note. So it's good to see this kid finally get some traction in that direction.
Yeah, I don't think he was the only one that took so long to get going. Now let's listen to Coach Charlie Strong talk about Tyrone Swoops.
No. What I tell him, Chip, is just trust your ability. You have the ability to just trust it and just execute the game plan and just make the throws. Just stand in there. You know, some of those throws the other night, it was no pressure coming, and he threw the ball like he had somebody in his face. Just stand there, and you're big enough to take a hit. There's nothing going to happen to you, even if somebody does come free. But you look at the one interception he throws, and we're driving the ball, the one thrown down here in the goal line. Shipley's behind the guy. If he just throws it up over his head, it's a touchdown. And then, you look at the one that the overthrows, and just take the time and make the throw. You have the ability, just trust your ability and play within yourself.
What do you guys think are Swoops' weak points, and what does he need to work on?
Well, I was genuinely impressed with his first half, strictly because of his attitude. I saw, he was getting pumped. He was acting like a leader. I loved that. Loved seeing that finally. But I think his weak points come in with the fact that especially they were shown in the second half because he came out, he needs to learn how to adapt to different defenses. So obviously whenever West Virginia came back from the half, they started running that zero pressure defense. He wasn't able to adapt to it. He looked kind of, out of it. He just wasn't confident anymore. He wasn't confident in his throws that he could make to John Harris any other game. But he starts letting the game get into his head, and I think he's got to be confident in his ability to play quarterback.
You said it best. He's got to be comfortable in the pocket. He's got the body. He has the athleticism, and he can make a lot of these passes that he's been fumbling, no pun intended, so to speak. So like you said, he's got to just gain that confidence. But some positive notes to take away, definitely.
Yeah, I think I agree with both of you guys. Thanks, Alex, for discussing Texas football with us tonight. We'll look forward to having you back later in the show for Big 12 football.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Now we will talk Texas volleyball and get a preview of women's basketball. Stay tuned. Welcome back and thanks for tuning in to College Press Box tonight. This week we had a lot of women's sports in action. Let's take a look.
After the Longhorns took care of Texas Tech, the volleyball team hosted the Kansas State Wildcats this past Friday. Let's go out to Gregory Gymnasium for the action. The first set, Kansas State takes an early lead. Kat Bell gets a bump to Amy Neal with the kill, and Texas is still down 5-8. Later in the set, we see the Longhorns down 15-20, and Chloe Collins sets up for the kill by Molly McCage, but it's not enough. The Wildcats win the set 25-16. Here in the second set, a kill by Chiaka Ogbagu. The Horns up 4-0. Texas with a huge 20-12 lead, and Collins gets to Haley Eckerman for the spike. What a gorgeous spike. Texas up 21-12. Set point for Texas, and Ogbagu and Nicole Dalton on the double block. Horns win the second set 25-15. We take a break, and Hookham gets some push-ups in. Look at that one-handed push-up. What great form. Look at that guy. I don't think I can even do that. That's great. Anyways, onward. Third set, Kansas State scores first, but Dalton sets it up for the Neal with the kill. We're tied 1-1 early on. Later on, Neal with another gorgeous kill. She would go on to get a double-double with 14 kills and 12 digs. Set point for Texas. Here later on, Collin gets it to Eckerman for the spike, and the Horns win the third set 25-21. In the fourth set, Kansas State's up 1-0 early, and Eckerman comes in for another huge spike for the Longhorns, and she would end the night with 10 kills on the day. Texas up 8-5. Dalton with an assist to Kat Bell for another spike, and she'd get 9 kills and 4 blocks on the day. Match point for Texas. Collins, I'm sorry, we got skipped ahead. Texas beats Kansas State 3-1. Another great showing for the Longhorns. Our own Alex Wilkins was on the scene at Gregory Gym with the team. Let's see what Alex has to say.
Coming off 2 back-to-back victories on the road, the Texas volleyball team continued their momentum against 22nd ranked Kansas State on Friday. The 3-1 win was led by junior outside hitter Amy Neal, who put up 14 kills and 12 digs. But Neal said there are no easy games when it comes to the Big 12.
And we have to expect everyone's best game, and everyone in the Big 12 can beat anyone. So I think just coming out with the same mindset every game and every set, like not letting up at all. So just, knowing that every team's going to play with us and we can't look past anyone.
The Horns first saw this in their only loss against Oklahoma, and Kansas State was no exception either. The Wildcats took an early lead and never let up to win the first set 25-16.
Coach Elliott said losing that first set reminded him of how they played against Oklahoma a few weeks ago, but this time the players were able to adjust.
Give credit to Kansas State. They played extremely well. They only had one mistake and put pressure on us, and we didn't deal with it well emotionally. But I liked the way that we caught ourselves. It's probably the fastest we've caught ourselves when we unraveled a little bit, and that shows me some positive signs.
Texas bounced back and won the next 3 sets. Neal says the difference was this time they didn't let their emotions control the game.
Before the game started, we talked about talking more about their side and just communicating more and really just honestly calming down and just playing our game and just managing it. And I think whenever we manage our game and play calm, we're going to be good.
Texas will play West Virginia at home Wednesday, and if they win that, will guarantee at least a slice of the Big 12 championship. Alex Wilkins, College Press Box.
The Big 12 soccer tournament took place this past week, and Texas soccer played some really close matches. They opened against the Red Raiders of Texas Tech, and after being tied 1-1 at the end of regulation and the overtime periods, were forced into a penalty shootout. Texas ousted the Red Raiders in penalty kicks for a 6-5 win, advancing to the semifinals of the tournament against West Virginia. The game remained scoreless at the end of regulation in both overtimes, and in another penalty shootout, the Longhorns fell short 6-5. The Longhorns will move on to compete in the NCAA championship tournament, with their first game still to be determined.
Texas women's basketball played Oklahoma City on Sunday. Let's go out to Frank Irwin to see highlights of the game. Texas women running out of the tunnel and getting ready for the game. Texas won the tip. Started off the game 5-0 when Kelsey Lang rebounds it and puts it back in for 2 points. Empress Davenport laid up to extend the lead for Texas. Oklahoma City finds an open player at the top for 2 points. Bad pass right here by Texas, and Rakisha Brown, 2 points for Oklahoma City. Texas is winning 15-9. Oklahoma tries for an open shoot, but Davenport blocks it. Brown hits the open 3. Emma Pauley rebounds the ball and puts it back in on the second try. Texas is up 22-12 right here, but Oklahoma sinks a floater. At the end of the first half, Oklahoma steals the ball on a bad pass, and Texas is up 42-33 at half. In the second half, Akins for 2 points. Right here, Lang receives the ball on the block for 2 points and receives a foul. It's 49-33 Texas. Akins gets the layup and a foul, 56-33 Texas. Texas ended up winning the game 102-56.
Longtime rivals Texas A&M made their way to UT this past weekend to face off against the Longhorns at the swimming pool. Our own Alanis King was on hand for the action.
With a 169-131 triumph, Texas A&M University delivered the Longhorn women their first loss of the season this weekend in the rivals' first matchup since the Longhorns suffered a close defeat in 2013. The second-ranked Texas team faced off against number 9 A&M in the women's first home meet of the season. With both teams heading into the meet with an undefeated record, only one could leave the doors of the Texas Swim Center with an unblemished season. And when the day's events concluded, Texas saw a mark added to its loss column. With a now 5-1 record, sophomore headliner Madison Cox talked about her approach going into the remainder of the season.
Just to be there for my team, put them on my back as much as I can, and just fight for Texas.
Despite being handed their first loss of the season over the weekend by Texas A&M University, head coach Carol Capitani said that the loss could actually benefit the Longhorns in the long run, as the team will head into its winter invitational with a chip on its shoulder.
Texas A&M is solid, so we didn't have a lot of advantages to really capitalize on, and we lost some close races today. If we would have gotten those races, it probably would have been a little closer meet. But no, I mean, in a good way. Maybe we're going to have a lot of things to think about, and we have 3 more weeks till our invite, and I think it's better to be underconfident and keep work on little things than overconfident going into our big meet.
The Texas Winter Invitational will be the next time the Longhorns face off in competition, and will be held right here at the Lee and Joe Jamel Texas Swim Center on December 4th through 6th. Alanis King, College Press Box.
Next on College Press Box, we're going to take a look into Longhorn sports. Stay tuned. Welcome back to College Press Box, and thanks for staying tuned for the last segment of the show tonight. Let's get started.
Let's take a look at the week in Longhorn sports. Tuesday, we got softball versus Sun City Texas Veterans at 6 p.m. Wednesday, volleyball faces off against West Virginia. Friday, we have the men's basketball opener versus North Dakota State, 7 p.m. Longhorn Network. Miles Turner, watch the game. Track and field at South Central Cross Country Regional as well on Friday.
And on Saturday, we have women's basketball at UTSA, 2 p.m. Longhorn Network. Football at Oklahoma State, 6:30 Fox. Volleyball at Oklahoma, 7 p.m. Sunday, men's basketball at Alcorn State, 7 p.m. All right, Diego, now it's time for the video everyone has been waiting for. Coach Charlie Strong crowd surfing in the locker room. But first, let's take a look at him doing it at Louisville.
So Coach Strong really likes to beat up on West Virginia, apparently.
And then have a crowd surfing party in the locker room after the game.
I'm a big fan, though. I like to see him doing a little bit of concert action. We just had fun fest in Austin.
And now we got him crowd surfing at Texas after the win on Saturday.
I like the spirit here at Texas. Get these boys excited. We're almost bowl eligible.
Well, let's take a look and listen to what Coach Strong has to say about the crowd surfing.
No, you know what happened on Saturday. I came in after a post-game interview, and everyone was already in the locker room, coaches, players, and everyone. So when I walked up to address the team, as I always do after a game, they just all grabbed me and then just started, throwing me around. First they were throwing me around, then that's when they lifted me up and started. But, I told them afterwards, I said, we only have a 2-game winning streak now. Let's not get carried away here, okay? It's not like we don't won like 10 in a row here and lifting the coach up.
Diego, Texas is going to Stillwater to play Oklahoma State this coming weekend. What are your predictions for the game?
I think this is going to be another big win for the Longhorns. Charlie Strong is going to get these boys really fired up. They're 2 wins away from being bowl eligible of what a couple weeks ago really looked like a pretty dire season. So I think they're going to stomp into Stillwater and get a big win.
I agree. Earlier in the season, I would have said differently, but after seeing how Texas has played this past week against West Virginia, I think I'll have to agree with you. Thanks for tuning in to College Press Box tonight. Don't forget to tune in again next week on Monday at 9:30. To stay up to date during the week, you can follow us on Twitter at College Press Box. Also watch College Crossfire on Wednesdays at 9. For everyone in studio and master control, Alex Wilkins and Diego Contreras, I'm Taylor Smith. Good night.
Trying to doubt the South, that's fine. We riding dirty at the same time, shine.